Tolstoy, an elderly man, sits at his wooden desk holding an open book, pondering over his life and discoveries. He recalls his youth as an aristocratic young man surrounded by luxury, yet feeling an inner void. On a battlefield, he witnesses soldiers falling. The horror of war prompts him to question, what is the purpose of life? In a castle's chamber, Tolstoy engages in conversations with intellectuals, but feels that traditional philosophy fails to address his doubts. He begins to observe the peasants, realizing that despite their poverty, they seem happier than the nobles. Walking alone through the forest, he senses the connection between nature and existence, a truth beyond words. He writes in his journal, "Why do we exist? What is the meaning of suffering?" Reading the Gospels, he realizes that faith is not in dogmas, but in the simplicity of love and service to others. He questions private property and decides to live with less, believing materialism is an obstacle to true life. Observing children playing, he wonders, are we born with the meaning of life, but forget it as we grow? He begins to live like a peasant, tilling the soil with his own hands. The physical labor brings him closer to the essence of life. He writes Confession, detailing his spiritual collapse and search for answers beyond formal religion. He concludes that society creates illusions of success, yet truth lies in simplicity. On a starry night, Tolstoy gazes into the infinite, the insignificance of man before the cosmos humbles him. He abandons fiction literature and dedicates himself to writing philosophical and moral texts on existence. Tolstoy comes to understand that life has no objective meaning. It is up to us to give it meaning. He reads Buddhist, Hindu, and Christian texts, recognizing that all religions point to the same essential truth. The philosopher contemplates death. It is not the end, but a natural part of life cycle. Tolstoy teaches that love for others is the only thing that can give meaning to our brief existence. He begins to advocate for nonviolence and material detachment as a path to authentic life. He observes his wife crying and perceives the weight of his spiritual quest on those around him. He asserts that the search for truth must be personal. No one can find the meaning of life for you. Tolstoy writes about the illusion of time. We live worried about the future, but life happens in the present. He reflects on human finitude. We are not eternal, but our actions can have a lasting impact. Seeing an old peasant smile, Tolstoy realizes that happiness is not in complexity, but in the acceptance of what is. He questions, if we didn't exist, would it matter? The answer lies in how we choose to live. He understands that every moment of consciousness is already a miracle on its own. Society distracts us from the fundamental question, not what we have, but who we are. Observing the sunrise, he thinks, life does not need a grand purpose to be meaningful. He distances himself from the church, rejecting dogmas while maintaining deep spirituality. Tolstoy feels death is not a tragic end, but a return to nature. He realizes that humanity's great questions will never have definitive answers. Looking into a mirror, he sees an aged man, yet finally at peace. He decides to leave his home and embark on a final journey, detached from everything. At a train station, his frail body senses the approach of the end, but his mind is serene. He reflects that love and compassion are the only things that truly matter. His vision blurs. He smiles. His quest for the meaning of life comes to an end. Friends and followers gather, reading his words, which now live beyond him. A page from Tolstoy's diary is shown. Life is a mystery, and loving it is enough. The train continues its journey, disappearing into the horizon, just as Tolstoy's journey does. His simple grave, without grand monuments, is merely a quiet place in nature. On the screen, his final words, "The only meaning of life is the one we give to it."